My name is Fiona Measham. I'm Professor of Criminology at Durham University, and I'm also co-director of The Loop, which is a drug and alcohol service with a harm reduction ethos, and we provide training, forensic testing and also welfare services at festivals and nightclubs. Multi-agency safety testing is a model of forensic testing, and the idea is we focus on safety in terms of drug users. They can come to us, they can provide a small sample, one small pill or a scoop of powder, and we will conduct a barrage of forensic tests on the substance, and within half an hour they can get the results as part of a brief intervention by a trained drugs worker. So the idea is that they can get the results of the tests, and we also provide that service for agencies on site so that agencies know what's circulating at festivals as well. For users, what happens is they can find out if there are any adulterants or contaminants in their drugs. They can also find out if they're very high or low purity, and at the moment there's a real concern with high purity drugs that can lead to overdose, so we can warn people about that. And also we can inform services on site about what sort of substances are circulating. If dealers are mis-selling drugs, so for example last summer we identified boric acid and chloroquine that was being mis-sold as cocaine, and we identified concrete, 100% concrete, that was being mis-sold as ecstasy tablets. So those are the sorts of things that we can identify on site. And we can also monitor drug trends. So if we know what's in circulation, we can see how the market's changing, and that helps police, paramedics, and most importantly, drug users themselves. I think there's various weaknesses. One of the things on site is that we try to provide as accurate and as quick forensic test results as we can, but inevitably there's a trade-off between the expense and the portability and the speed of the equipment that we use, and therefore we can never guarantee that any result is 100% accurate. So first of all we have to flag up the limitations of the testing. Also we say to people, we can say what the probability is of the sample that they have given us. However, we can't necessarily say that all the other drugs that might look similar will have identical contents. So there could be differences between batches. There could be differences even within batches in terms of things like purity levels. So we say to people, this is the all probability of what we think is in that substance they gave us, but we have to be very careful about generalising to other substances. Other concerns relate to the fact that we're saying what the results are of the particular drugs, but some of the risks relate to user behaviour as well. So what I mean by that is the substance itself might have a specific dosage, but if people are mixing that drug with other drugs, that can enhance the risks. If they're mixing it with alcohol, that can enhance the risks. But also I think if they're binging, particularly at festivals, if they are having a sort of cumulative effect of having lots of drugs over several days, then that can have an added risk factor. So we have to bear all those things in mind as well. So we can give people the information about what's in the drugs. It doesn't necessarily lead to the behaviour change. So we say that it's one piece of the jigsaw. It can help reduce drug-related harm on site, but there's no guarantees that it will necessarily save lives. We hope that it will reduce drug-related harm on site and hospitalisations, but there's no guarantees. Last summer we conducted 2 pilots in the UK at Secret Garden Party and Kendal Calling, and they were very well received. We were very pleased with the results. We had 1 in 5 people who asked us to dispose of other substances of concern in their possession, and the results of those pilots were successful enough that this summer we're going to be about 8 to 10 festivals, including Boomtown, Secret Garden Party and Kendal Calling, and we'll be testing drugs there. So if any members of the general public have substances of concern, they bring them to us. It's a free, confidential, anonymous service, and they can find out what's in the substance. We're also hoping to be rolling it out in some city centres and possibly some drug treatment services. We're exploring the idea that perhaps people can go into the drug treatment service once a month and will be able to have their drugs tested there. And also possibly in European drug consumption rooms. So in Copenhagen, they've just appointed a drug tester where homeless people who've got problem drug use, heroin users, can go and get their drugs tested as well. So it's not necessarily a model just for recreational users. It's also got the potential to be a model for all drug users and all drugs in circulation, because at the end of the day, if they're illegal drugs, then nobody knows what's in them, nobody knows what the contaminants might be, and nobody knows what the purity levels are. And that's where many of the harms come from in relation to illegal drugs.